Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Lee Hicks, and I'm here today to express once again the wrongs of a state to a family. At the time that this happened, we were young and we didn't know what I know today. I would like to introduce my mom to my right, and then we have the niece, the daughter of the reason why this case happened in the first place. I would like to start by saying that my understanding today is more powerful because I allowed God to lead me in the way that I needed to go to get to the place that we are in now. Almost 47 years ago, there was a call for help. And it was my sister. At the time, we didn't know exactly what was going on, but the person that we were dealing with he just didn't have any remorse for anything that he did. He didn't care about life one way or the other. He was just a corrupt dude. And I'm telling you exactly the way it is. He would attack the kids, his family, didn't matter who it was. One day, he and his sister and his sister's boyfriend were all around the house where we lived, which was on Kingsley Court. And his sister got into it with her boyfriend, and he was sitting in his car. I would say he was drunk or whatever. Johnny came down the street and shot him in the head through the back of his car window.
So give me a second. You say Kingsley Court. Where is this location at?
On the west side of Lansing.
Okay. So give me a time frame.
This was in April.
Uh-huh.
Around the 29th, maybe. It was 1975.
Okay.
Around about 7 in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
We left Kingsley Court and we went to go to my sister's house.
Okay.
Which was on Roseline.
And this was the sister that was given the call for help, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
She lived on Roseline. I believe that was the street, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So anyway, we were actually sitting on Kingsley Court. I was smoking weed, drinking beer, whatever. And I had just gotten out for work. Me and Bruce and some other girls were sitting in my car. Anyway, I got out of the car to go to the bathroom. And the phone was ringing and I picked it up. And it was my sister. And she was crying on the phone. And I asked her what was wrong. And she said, please help. So I looked at my dad, and my dad looked at me, put the phone down, and went back outside. Told everybody to get out of the car. My sister and Bruce was still there. She ended up getting out of the car, and me and Bruce took off.
Bruce, your younger brother, right?
Bruce is the one that's incarcerated and has been incarcerated for 46, almost 47 years.
Okay.
For nothing. So with me being, not in the frame of mind, I'm thinking that this guy who I know has no respect for life, and my sister who is calling for help, and she has 2 young daughters at the house with her, she wouldn't just call for help if it wasn't needed. or important. So I'm telling the officer all about it. And when he told me that, I went like flashed out, you know what I mean? And the next thing I know, I'm saying stuff, and Bruce said, man, don't say that. I said, okay. So we left the officer and we went to Regent Street because that's where I had a gun. When I got to Regent Street, I got the gun. I ran back out of the house. There's a bullet in the yard right now at 1124 Regent Street. It's in the yard from that gun. We got back in the car and I got over on Logan Street, almost to Willow. I turned on Willow and I went down Willow to where the Quality Dairy is, and I turned and we got to the house. The house was black. I beat on the door. I called out the name. There was no response. In the meantime, Bruce was on the opposite side of the house.
Okay.
Because
so who stays there besides your sister at this time?
it was Johnny, Katrina, and Shanta, and Vivian.
So Johnny is who?
Johnny is the one that got shot.
Okay. And then the other ones were they children or just
It was Vivian, Katrina, and Shanta.
Okay.
The three women.
Okay.
2 girls and the mom.
Okay, cool.
So I ended up shooting the door, kicking it in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got inside. When I got inside, the house was black. I was calling the names and stuff like that, and there was no response. So I ended up getting to a light and turning it on. When I turned the light on, Johnny was sitting on the couch. I started shooting him in the head.
Right.
And then I stopped and I woke him up. And he got up and he walked over to the wall in the living room by the kitchen. He and I were standing there and we were talking. And I asked him, I said, well, where's Vivian and the girls? He said he don't know. He don't give a damn. So I asked him again. He said the same thing. Then all of a sudden, he said, you gonna kill me or I'm gonna kill you. At that point, Johnny got shot. Bruce walked in the door. He said, you shot him. I'm standing in the middle of the floor. And Bruce takes the gun from me and takes it and put it in the bedroom. I didn't even know this because I'm like really freaked out. Because I'm thinking that when you shoot somebody when somebody gets shot, they fall.
Exactly.
Johnny didn't fall.
Right.
He walked from that wall back to the couch and sat down. So I'm standing there, this police, the same identical police that I stopped at the gas station and asked for help was the first one on the scene.
Wow. The irony.
And then after a minute, he said, we got to go downtown. I said, well, fine. I know I did this, so what's the problem? I get downtown and they bring Bruce in because they took both of us out about the same time from the house. We got arrested on the spot. So they took us both out and they put him in one car and me in another, and then they took us downtown. We were sitting outside the cage and I told Bruce, I said, look, you don't have to worry about nothing. I did this. I'll accept the responsibility. I know that I'm going to go to prison. I'm going to jail. There's no doubt about it.
Exactly. And it's your little brother.
So and it's my little brother.
So you're overprotective in a sense as well.
He's from the military. So why would I put him in a position to make him guilty of something that I know I did?
Exactly. Right. My point exactly.
So from my understanding, they didn't turn everything around. They didn't turn the whole thing around. Told me I'm lying, basically. And put it on him. Because when they put us in the county jail, we were in the same dorm at one point. Then they separated us. Made it impossible for me to talk to him or him to talk to me. The lawyers never came to me and talked to me about anything. I didn't even know he had went to trial.
So how long of a time frame had it been between
We both ended up in Ionia in December and January.
Okay, let me take it back a little bit for a minute. How much time had passed?
Like a couple of months.
Okay, but y'all both still.
We in the same jail.
Exactly.
He's in the max. I'm in dorm 3.
Okay.
So
this is Ingham County.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, I mean, I really haven't given it any thought at the time because I know I'm guilty. I know I did this. Mm-hmm. I know I told him I did. I told him everything.
Right.
So did he.
So you basically waiting.
I'm waiting to see what's going on. I'm waiting to talk to these lawyers to find out what they're doing. So I end up getting 2nd-degree murder. I go to the court and they sentence me. And I get back. They say they found Bruce guilty. I'm like, to the police, found him guilty of what? What do you mean they found him guilty? They say, yeah, they found him guilty. Okay. So I meet up with Bruce in Ionia. And then he tells me what happened. He said that they had a Walker hearing. Why would you have a Walker hearing when you have everything to represent your client? You want to exclude all of the evidence to defend himself? Are you serious?
Anybody who don't know what a Walker hearing is, explain what a Walker hearing is and what it does.
I will do that. A Walker hearing is like when you go into a trial. First of all, this is a murder case. You have all of the evidence to prove your client's innocence. When you come in or when you're chosen, whatever the case may be, your thing, because you're coming out of law school, is to abide by the rules, which means that you are obligated to hear and see and read your client's case to understand what you're dealing with. In representing someone in a murder case, and you have all of the stuff to work with to represent your client, and you refuse to do that, you file for a Walker hearing, which excludes everything that you have to represent your client. You don't have a defense. There is no defense whatsoever because you have excluded it. You said you don't want it.
So in essence, a Walker hearing eliminates any evidence
that can help you.
Exactly. So the logic that you're speaking of is like, why would you do that when you have everything you need? And I'm telling you that I'm the one who done this thing. I'm guilty. Let my brother go. But his lawyers advised him to take a Walker hearing and to also not testify on his behalf.
Exactly.
And ultimately, what charge did they convict him of?
They gave him life.
What was the charge? Was it capital?
They said they could have charged him with aiding and abetting. They could have charged him with aiding and abetting. This is what I was told when I sat in front of the prosecuting attorney. So basically, as I was speaking to the prosecuting attorney and the head of the legal department, they had me confused because they said because of what happened, his strategy backfired. You didn't have a strategy. There was no strategy. You agreed with whatever they put in front of you. You allowed it to happen. You didn't represent your client. Period.
So at this point, as far as any appeal process, any type of legal redemption that the state or the government could offer your brother, has there been any interest in that direction? Has he been exhausting his appellate rights?
From my understanding, he hasn't had an appeal. From my understanding, they're trying to work on something to get him out. From my understanding, he's been in the Innocence Project and they're working on it.
So is that the day you speak of when you say they're working?
Yes.
Okay.
The Innocence Project. I exist. I am alive. I know what happened. I told you what happened. You chose to do it your way. That's wrong. I'm standing before you again as I stood before Judge DeLuca, downtown Lansing, and said to him, it's time to make a wrong right. You knew my brother was innocent. You had all of the evidence. You had everything you needed for him not to be in prison for 46 years for nothing. I'm here right now doing the same thing I've been doing for 46 years.
Has Judge DeLuca responded or been in contact with the family?
He remembers me.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when I went in front of him, I was in front of him for a ticket. He asked me how I plead. I told him it's bigger than a ticket. He put his head down. And when he brought it back up, he looked at me. He said, I remember you. You're Robert, and your brother is Bruce. He said, there is nothing I can do about your brother being in prison for 41 years. That's how long it had been when I seen him. I told him, you've done all you can do. There's nothing more you can do. And as far as you being able to do anything for him, you should have did it 41 years ago. You're not punishing just my baby brother. You're punishing my family. And you've been doing it for a long time. No one cares about the truth. And it's right in front of you. It's been in front of you. I admitted it then. I admit it now. Almost 47 years later. I did it. You didn't take him to court or trial to get the truth. You took him to court for nothing. The reality of it is, my mom is still here waiting to see her son. Me, I'm in the middle. He was with me. I think about this all the time. Because of the fact that he is my mom's baby boy and he's my baby brother.
So let me ask you, outside of that small exchange with Judge DeLuca, how many people in a legislative position or judicial position, should I say, have given you any type of help? I know you spoke briefly of the head prosecutor, is Kara Simon, I think her name is.
Yes.
Yeah, and some letters that you guys had been exchanging, or some correspondence that you guys had been exchanging. What has been any remedy there?
There hasn't been any.
So it's at a standstill, basically.
Yes.
And how long has that been since the last, let's say,
Month.
It's been a month?
I sent her a letter of request to attend my brother's hearing, mainly because I know for a fact a person doing life in prison, they don't see him. They slide it under his door.
Most definitely. Mm-hmm.
They don't see a person doing life in prison. They don't do it. They sit in the office or whatever room it is, and they just stamp the paper and slide it under your door. Decision the same. Well, the decision to do the right thing is now. Like I said, they took away his right to have a fair trial. They took it away when they told him don't defend yourself. They took it away when they said we don't need none of the evidence. What you convicted him on is a picture of a person that had no desire to care for anyone in the world other than himself. That's the man that died. My mom has seen experiences where he have held a girl's head under hot water to break her. I have seen times where he had hit my sister upside the head and shot a gun in the room at the same time. That's the man that died. I've seen where kids would get off the school bus and he would sick his dog on them and run them home. That's the man that died. I've seen where this man chased his father with an axe and his father was in a wheelchair. That's the man that died. The lawyer that my brother had didn't care about none of this. He could have set my brother free by putting the same information that I have in front of the 12 people that convicted my brother and sent him to prison for all of these years for nothing. Do I have a life? No. Because every day I have to think about what is going on with my brother. Why are they holding him in this place for nothing? The same evidence that they had back then, they had it in the Lansing Police Department. All of the clothes we wear, the shoes, everything, all of it, the pictures of her, Katrina's mom being beat, they had all of it. The Innocence Project said they didn't have any evidence. How is that possible? You did everything that was right. You felt was right. Even to the point that you confessed to something that you did. And nobody cared about the truth. The lawyer I had, he did what he was doing. Everything was in cahoots. The judge was crooked. The judge was crooked as all outdoors.
So we're talking about ineffective counsel.
Ineffective assistance of counsel.
Most definitely. You talking about
anything corrupt.
Yeah, I mean all the way from the
anything corrupt.
From the first responding officer. Who,
they had his birthday messed up for 41 years. You know, they just corrected his birthday in the prison. They made him 18 when he was in the county jail and used my other brother's birthday, who was already in prison. He's already in prison. Then they turn around and give my baby brother his birthday to send him to prison. So now you got two brothers in prison with the same birthday. They said they couldn't help my brother because he was 18 at the time of the crime. No, he wasn't. The only reason why it was 18 is because when they first locked him up downtown, they changed his birthday.
So they changed his birthday to make him appear older?
Yeah.
Or?
They sure did. In order for them to lock him up
And hold him.
They had to make him 18.
He was actually how old?
17. They took all of that from him. This family has been dealing with this wrong for 46 years.
Almost half a century. So
And no one still, to this very day, wants to know the truth. So everything we're doing is revealing the truth. A corrupt system has been going on in this town for a very long time. The prosecutor said they're doing things to change the system that they had.
And this,
You can't.
This is Carol Simon you speak of.
Oh yeah, Carol. She's the one. She says she's working for change. She wants to give people in prison a second chance. How can you give a person a second chance when that didn't have a first? You took it away. You didn't do it per se. The system did. The system that had 52 prisons that had to be filled. The whole thing was to convict. And who would fall in that category other than us?
Young black man.
Young black men.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know nothing.
Yeah, easy prey.
Yeah. We could send them in. Recidivism was so high at that time. Like I said, they had 52 prisons here in Michigan.
Yeah.
So they had to fill them. And anybody could go.
It was a numbers game, basically. So you just fell into a statistical, bureaucratic, corrupt, like honestly. It was like
very corrupt.
The numbers represented the money.
Exactly. The more you sin, the more money you get.
Mm-hmm.
And they built 52 prisons.
It's a lot of bodies.
I ended up doing 22 years because of what they did. And all they did was created in me something that they don't want to deal with. Because I'm going to tell the truth. And they're going to have to deal with it sooner or later. The same truth that they should have dealt with back then. They're going to have to deal with it now. They don't have to look at me. They don't have to pay attention to me. The one thing about it, I'm going to keep telling the truth. Sooner or later, somebody's going to hear what I'm saying and wonder the same thing that I am. Why? A question that's never answered. Let my brother go. You holding him for nothing. You keep punishing this family for what? Because you messed up? You did. And I know it. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm telling you exactly what happened. Just like I did then. There's no denying the truth. I'm one of the ones that knows what happened, just like my baby brother. And you keep ignoring me. Why? I was here then. I'm here now. I'll be here when the truth comes out. It's time to deal with it. Let my brother go. It's just a tragedy. It's a tragedy to see a family suffer for no reason. And you're not doing a thing about it. You get information from people that wasn't even alive when this all happened, and you ignore the one person that can give you the best information. The same one that's been screaming this for 46 years, you don't even pay attention to. You don't even care. That's ridiculous. You don't follow the law. You didn't follow it then.
Obvious that you two had a connection that was stronger than that's an unbreakable bond. Let's say. I want to know how he's doing. When you talk to him, how's his spirit? How's his resolve?
You know, I asked about my brother all the time. I speak to him rarely. Mainly because it's such a painful thing knowing that he is there. When I do talk to him, we talk specifics on what is going on. He asks me a question, I'll give him an answer. There's not a lot I can tell him because I don't know anything. Everything that's being done, I never hear about it. No one's giving me anything. Everything I find out on my own. Because first of all, they're not going to want to hear what I have to say about the situation, regardless of what it is. The one thing they have to understand, they can't say what happened. I can. So whatever their opinion is, that's their opinion. I could care less. The one thing I'm going to do is stick by my brother and tell the truth.
Let's talk about what's next in your advocacy to free your brother. What would the next step look like for you?
Whatever it takes. There is no steps. Whatever it takes, I will continue to do to free my brother. Wherever God sends me, I'm going. That's the bottom line. There are no steps. God sends it, you do it. And in the end, it always comes out right. Right now, as I said earlier, I feel like I'm in the Moses effect because I'm being sent to do something. And I'm doing exactly what he said. He puts you in places and with people that can open doors. That's why we're here. It's time for doors to be open. And the only way they can be open is that the word be said. The truth continues to go out. Because there's a lot of people who may not understand the reality of what really was going on as well as it is today. Black people are doing what they do, and so is the system. It's going to always be corrupt. It's never going to be the way it's supposed to be. It's always going to be corrupt. There are good and there are bad. Whatever outweighs the situation at the time is the way it's going to turn out. There are good. Sometimes people listen and they get the truth and then they have to deal with it. Sometimes they don't care about the truth and it is what it is. And sometimes they just don't care about the truth, period. That's the life we're living right now. You don't care about the truth, period. You did it. It happened. You think it's over. It's not. I'm here. I'm alive. And I'm telling the truth. Like I did then.
This is just the beginning. But in closing, let me hear something that inspires you, something that motivates you, something that gives you such a positive outlook still to keep going and to keep working hard on your brother's behalf.
The one thing that I understood after I got out of prison the last time, I told my brother, I said, no matter what, I love you and I'll always be there for you. I had to come to the realization that me being where he was would never allow what I'm saying today to be said. We communicate in ways that he and I understand because we have both been in the same position. We know what the system is about. We know how things go. And the one thing that we have to live on every day is my mom, the love we have for each other, and the continuing goal to see the right thing done.